Hello everyone. Have you heard about the big news about baby in the field of life science recently?
Professor, did you mean about the big headline saying meet the world's first baby born from the DNA of three parents?
Exactly.
Three parents?
The baby from the DNA of three parents is an experimental technique aiming at eliminating genetic disease in newborns. It is a great breakthrough in gene therapy. You must know something about test tube babies.
A test tube baby refers to in vitro fertilization, IVF, a process in which an egg is fertilized outside the body, in vitro, in glass. The process involves monitoring and stimulating a woman's ovulatory process, removing an ovum or ova from the woman's ovaries and letting sperm fertilize them in a liquid. This is accomplished with equipment in a laboratory. The fertilized egg, or zygote, is cultured for 2 to 6 days in a growth medium and is then transferred to the same or another woman's uterus, with the intention of establishing a successful pregnancy. The test tube baby is a baby conceived through in vitro fertilization.
And the statistics show that the success rate of test tube baby in China is about 30 to 40%, and the United States has the highest success rate. It's about 70 to 80%.
I didn't realize we have so many test tube kids in our daily life, right?
Yes.
No wonder that Robert Edwards was awarded 2010's Nobel Prize in Sociology for the development of in vitro fertilization.
I think despite all this success in this field, it is still a controversial issue, both ethically and morally.
Why? What's wrong with making babies?
Some people feel like this process is too similar to manufacturing human beings in a factory. They are concerned that it somehow lowers the value of human life. Others are concerned that children selectively conceived through artificial processes might be given unfair genetic advantages over children conceived without scientific enhancement. Other people are concerned with the precedent that is set by artificial means of fertilization on a planet that has limited resources and a rapidly growing population. Why is the science focused on new ways to create children when millions of children are dying of starvation or living in poor health? And of course, as with any scientific achievement, there is religious opposition. Some religions are convinced that babies should only be made through the natural method, only between a man and a woman who are married to one another.
It seems that there are many different controversies around this topic.
Yeah, and I wondered, what's the difference between a baby born from the DNA of three parents and the one that's born from the typical vitro process?
The 3D parent DNA process uses mitochondrial transfer.
Mitochondria?
Yes, it's actually an organelle. The mitochondrion is a double membrane-bound organelle found in all eukaryotic organisms, although some cells in some organisms may lack them. In addition to supplying cell energy, mitochondria are involved in other tasks, such as signaling, cellular differentiation, and cell death, as well as maintaining control of the cell cycle and cell growth.
You know, in some cases, it may bring about some deadly disease among the newborn babies. And for this kind of disease, it can be deadly and it has no cure at the moment.
It is reported that 1 out of every 6,000 children born with mitochondrial genetic disorders.
The baby born from the DNA of three parents involves a procedure called spindle nuclear transfer, removing a healthy nucleus from a mother's egg and transferring it to a donor egg with the nucleus removed. This egg contains nuclear DNA from the mother and the mitochondrial DNA from a donor. It's then fertilized with the father's sperm, thus providing DNA from 3 separate parents: the mother, egg donor, and father.
Oh, I get it. It means that genetically the baby has 2 mothers and 1 father. That's why he was called a baby from the DNA of 3 parents.
2 mothers. Does the child with 2 mothers have to buy both of his mothers presents on Mother's Day?
Yeah, and he is more lucky, I guess, because he gets more presents on the Children's Day.
Are there really any successful cases so far?
On September 28, 2016, scientists announced the successful birth of a healthy baby boy who was conceived from 1 sperm and different parts of 2 eggs. The baby has not shown any signs of ill health. Doctors say less than 1% of his cells contain any mutation, a number believed too low to develop into disease.
That's amazing. This is really good news for the couples who have trouble to conceive a child.
Yes, it will be great for the would-be parents.
But there must be some controversies, I think.
Certainly there are. We don't know yet what kind of effects this could have on the evolution of human beings. Like someone like me may ask that, is it fair for us who have or who are sharing DNA of 2 parents instead of 3?
If researchers genetically modify embryos to enhance their development during pregnancy, what other types of development might they enhance? It is hard to imagine what might happen if such studies are conducted without regulation.
I don't think so. Although it's technically a baby with 3 parents, the 3rd DNA donor actually provides little genes to this process. And the main function of the mitochondrion is to provide energy in the cellular reproduction process. So it means that this process may not influence the some genetic information of their children, such as height, intelligence, or eye color.
My point is, this kind of reproductive advantage may raise some ethical questions, not only for individuals but for society.
Actually, people around the world have different opinions as well. For example, in the United States, any experiment on human embryo is not allowed. It's banned, actually. While in the UK, people are allowed to do this experiment. That's why UK is the first country which allows such experiment.
Yeah, most of the achievements in science came with controversies because they don't fit in the society of their time. However, how long it takes for them to get accepted in the society depends on how much benefits they bring to the human being.
There were so many controversies around the in vitro fertilization when it first appeared, but my guess is that as long as study and practice of in vitro fertilization continues, people will get more accustomed to it, so it will become less controversial. Sure.
Yes, as we all know, every coin has its 2 sides. Actually, it's its contribution to the development of society that counts.
I guess science itself is not the only thing we must study, but also the long-term effect it may have on humanity.